Efendim hepinize günaydın. Sayın Rektörüm, sayın düzenleyiciler ve sevgili bilgi profesyonelleri, kütüphaneciler, arşivciler, bilgi bilimciler. Bu güzel günü bizimle geçirmeyi tercih ettiğiniz için teşekkür ederek başlamak istiyorum. Dünkü konuşmaya atıf yapıldığı için ben tekrar o konuda vakit kaybetmeyeceğim ama bugün daha da spesifik olarak araştırma verilerinin yönetiminden söz edeceğiz. İlk oturumda 3 değerli konuşmacımız var. Önce Sayın Ahmet Hocam bize Açık Bilim'in kimyasından söz edecek. Dolayısıyla dünle bir bağlantı kurmuş olacağız. Daha sonra gelen iki konuşmada ise önce parçacık fiziği çok ünlü bir kurum CERN'den Tim Smith bize hep adını duyduğumuz büyük veriyle ilgili olarak, ki gerçekten CERN bugün en büyük veriye sahip olan kurumlardan biri, bundan söz edecek. Büyük açık bilim ve daha sonra da pratikte Delft Teknik Üniversitesi'nde veri yönetiminin nasıl yapıldığı ile ilgili Marta Teperek konuşacak. Ben daha fazla onların vaktini çalmadan hemen ilk konuşmacımızla ilgili kısa bilgi vermek istiyorum. Belki bildirisinin başlığından da anlaşılacağı üzere Sayın Hocamız kimya alanında doktorasını yapmış. Önce Orta Doğu Teknik Üniversitesi'nde, daha sonra da Sheffield Üniversitesi'nde doktorasını tamamlamış. Ve halen de İzmir Yüksek Teknoloji Enstitüsü'nde araştırma geliştirmeden sorumlu Rektör Yardımcısı olarak devam ediyor. Aynı zamanda kendisi başından beri de açık erişim konusunda en büyük destekçilerimizden biri. Sayın Hocam buyurun.
Böyle tutarak konuşsam olur mu? Çünkü orada oturunca var mı? Geliyor mu sesim? Tamam. Merhaba, hoş geldiniz. Sayın Hocam, teşekkür ederim. Şimdi aslında açık bilimin kimyası, bu ilginç bir başlık oldu benim için de. Biz bir sürü işle uğraşırken orada, başka işlerle uğraşırken Gültekin Bey sağ olsun. Kütüphaneciler çok önemli. İyi kütüphaneci ve insanın işini kolaylaştıran kütüphaneci ile insanın başına iş açan kütüphaneci diye ikiye ayrılabilir. Gültekin Bey bu başlığı önüme koydu. Hocam budur dedi konuşma. Şimdi ben de içini doldurmaya çalışacağım. Ünlü bir yazarın bir başka yazara çok uzun bir mektup yazdıktan sonra söylediği gibi, kusura bakma demiş arkadaşına, fazla zamanım olmadığı için biraz uzun yazmak zorunda kaldım. Benimki uzun değil ama biraz dağınık oldu. Slaytları bir araya koydum. Ben de gerçekten şimdi göreceğim ve nasıl bir şey olduğunu hep birlikte anlayacağız. Açık bilimin kimyası aslında Türk Dil Kurumu'nun sözlüğüne bakınca bunları başta böyle bir söylemek isterim. Açığın anlamı açılmış, kapalı olmayan, örtüsüz, aralığı çok, kolay anlaşılır. Çünkü biz açık dediğimiz zaman genellikle açık erişimde erişilebilir, bir şeyin rahatlıkla okunabilir olmasından anlıyoruz. Ama anlaşılır olması bazen unutuluyor. O yüzden anlaşılır da olması üzerinde durmak lazım. Bilimin tanımını yapmama gerek yok. Ama en azından bir bilgi üretimi, evrenin anlamak için ortaya konulan çalışmalar, deneysel gözlemler ve onun üzerinden devam eden bir yanı var. Kimyada maddenin temel yapı taşlarını, atomları, molekülleri ve bunların birbirlerine ilişkisini inceleyen bir bilim dalı. Şimdi bağlamaya çalışacağım. Hep birlikte belki bağlarız. Bir kimyasal reaksiyonu düşündüğünüzde liseden beri kimya görmemiş olanlarınız için belki birkaç tip reaksiyon var. Sol tarafta reaktifler, reaktantlar, sağ tarafta da ürünler, product'lar var. A ve B ayrı atomları bir araya gelip AB molekülünü bir araya getirebilir. AB molekülü bir takım şartların değişmesiyle A ve B'ye dönüşebilir. AB molekülü ile C molekülü çarpışıp AC'yi oluşturabilirler. B atoma dönüşür, serbest kalır. AB ile CD molekülleri bir araya gelirler. AC ve BD'ye dönüşebilirler. Bunların her biri mümkün bir kimyasal reaksiyonda. Şimdi bu kimyasal reaksiyonu etkileyen parametreler şöyle olmasına çalışacağım aslında. Şimdi bir makale, bilgi üretildi. O bilgiyi veriye dayalıyor ve bir makaleye dönüştürmek isteyeceğiz. O dönüşümde onu bir kimyasal ürün olarak düşünürsek, burada bir tarafta yapılan deneyler, deney reaktantları, kişinin kendisi deney reaktantları, ürüne giden yolda bazı zaman zaman katalizlere ihtiyacımız olacak. Onları şu bugünkü yayın evlerine benzetebiliriz ya da yayınlama mekanizmalarına benzetebiliriz. Ve bunların arasındaki ilişkiler bir kimyasal reaksiyonu nasıl etkileyecek? Sıcaklık önemli bir şey kimyasal reaksiyonlarda. Çünkü sıcaklık arttıkça moleküller artar. Örneğin buranın sıcaklığını bir 5 derece yükseltsek hepimiz dolaşmaya başlarız. 10 dereceye yükseltirsek koşmaya başlarız. Koşma arttıkça, hareket, kinetik enerjimiz arttıkça birbirimizle çarpışma olasılığımız artar. Bu da bir kimyasal reaksiyonun olma olasılığını arttırır. Basıncı azaltmak ya da arttırmak yine aynı şekilde sebep olacağı için çok etkilidir. Hacim önemli. Çünkü siz reaksiyon kabının hacmiyle oynarsanız yine bir kaptaki hareket ve kinetik enerjiyi artırıp azaltabilirsiniz. Ama en önemli parametrelerden birisi o reaktantların derişimleri, konsantrasyonları, ne kadar, kaç tane oldukları. 2 tane kırmızı ve mavi atomu düşünürsek o 2 atomun çok uygun bir konformasyonda bir araya gelmesi, çarpışması ve bir moleküle dönüşmesi gerekiyor. Kimyasal reaksiyon bu. Yani bilgi, araştırmacı çarpıştı, makale ve açık ya da kapalı erişime dönüşecek. Asıl amacımız bu. Bir de bunu kolaylaştıran mekanizmalar var dediğim gibi. Katalizörler de bu amaçla kullanılıyor. Şimdi bu parametrelerden önemli birisi derişim dedim, konsantrasyon dedim. Mesela ne demek o? Bu kaptaki kimyasal madde sayısını, konsantrasyonunu arttırırsak bir reaksiyon olasılığı artıyor. Çarpışma olasılığı artacağı için daha çok ürün elde edebiliriz. Yani bakın burada bir sürü reaksiyon aynı zamanda oluyor. Hacim sabit, dolayısıyla atomların, oluşan moleküllerin kaçacak bir yeri yok. Ve biz yeşil ve üçgen, kapalı üçgen bir ısı olarak düşünün. Dışa açığa çıkan ısı çok büyük bir reaksiyon ürünü ve de çok büyük bir sıcaklıkla karşı karşıya kalıyoruz. Şimdi dedim ya, derişimi arttırdığımız zaman, yani bilgiyi, araştırmacının yeteneğini arttırdığımız zaman daha fazla ürün olur, daha fazla makale olur. Peki bunu çok arttırırsak ne olur? Bu kez şöyle bir durum olur. Yeterli hareket alanı olmadığı için artık üretemez olur. Yani reaksiyon durur. Reaksiyonun durması iyi bir şey değil. Yani bizim de aldığımız görevler açısından, diğer işlerimiz açısından belli bir dengede tutmamız gerekiyor işlerimizi. Yoksa reaksiyon verememeye başlarız. Burada çünkü artık atomların gidecek, kaçacak, birbirleriyle etkileşecek yerleri, zamanları, enerjileri kalmamış durumda. Bu özellikle, bunu da şöyle göstermek istiyorum. Bu da aslında hepsini aynı yere koysanız yeterli kinetik enerjiye ulaşabilecek ve güzel bir ürün verebilecek insanları bir araya getirmeyip de her birilerini ayrı fanuslarda değerlendirirseniz olacak şey. Yani kritik kitle, kritik konsantrasyon dediğimiz şey burada önemli. Eğer burada bu kadar kişi bir araya gelip bir şey üzerinde çalışıyorsak bir şey üretmemiz daha kolay olacak, yoksa olmayacak. Bu da işte bu verinin paylaşımıyla da doğrudan ilişkilendirebileceğimiz bir şey. Çünkü o zaman bir kişinin ürettiği, iki kişinin ürettiği veri tüm herkesin, bütün çalışanların olacağı için onlar da o verileri kullanıp başka bir şeye dönüştürebilecekler. Birkaç tane daha kimya gidecek böyle. Çok sıkıldığınızda el kaldırın. Sıkılma lütfen derim. Devam edeceğim. Şöyle egzotermik ve endotermik reaksiyonlar var. Egzotermik reaksiyon, reaktantlar çarpıştıktan sonra enerjinin açığa çıkması, ısı enerjisi şeklinde. Endotermik ise bir reaksiyonun olması için gerekli olması için gerekli olan ısı. Evet, sıcaklık. Şimdi bir de burada tanımlanan önemli bir şey var. Aktivasyon enerjisi. O işte A artı B, AB'ye bu geçiş molekülüne giderken aradaki enerji, reaksiyon olması için gerekli olan enerjiden bahsediyoruz. Bu enerji aktivasyon enerjisi yine burada bizim konuyla ilişkilendirmeye çalışırsak bir makale üretiminde, bilgi üretiminde, bir çalışmada bize gerekli olan enerji, bu proje parası olabilir, bu aldığımız maaş olabilir, deneysel bir iş yapıyorsak deneyde kullandığımız reaktifler olabilir. Bunun gibi her türlü reaktifi burada sayabilirsiniz. Ve reaksiyonun ilerleyişine göre de bu aşamalar takip edilebilir. Şimdi biraz önce de söyledim, aktivasyon enerjisi önemli. Eğer aktivasyon enerjisi bırakırsanız kendi içinden bir reaksiyonu kolay olmaz. Özellikle böyle endotermik reaksiyonlarda geçiş evresi çok önemlidir. O enerjiyi almadığınız sürece ürüne gidemezsiniz. O zaman katalizörlere ihtiyacımız olabilir zaman zaman. Katalizörler bu geçiş yolunu kolaylaştıran, oradaki aktivasyon enerjisini küçülten mekanizmalardır. Bunlar kimyasal maddeler olabilir, sıcaklık olabilir, ısı olabilir gibi. Bunun yaptığı iş böyle bir yüzeyde moleküller kendi başlarınayken, reaksiyon veremezken yüzeyde yan yana gelir, tutunurlar, reaksiyona bu bir ürüne dönüşür ve sonra ayrılırlar. Bu kataliz eski yerinde kalır. Değişmeden girer reaksiyona ve değişmeden çıkar. O yüzden önemli bir şey. Şimdi bir başka kimyasal prensip var. Bunu da söylemem gerekiyor. Bu da dünyadaki aslında sadece kimyasal reaksiyonlar için değil, bütün denge reaksiyonlarında kullanabileceğimiz prensiplerden birisi. Şöyle tanımlanabilir. Bir denge reaksiyonunda sisteme dışarıdan bir etki yapıldığında sistem bu etkiyi giderme yönünde davranır. A ve B'yi düşünün, iki tane atom C ve D'ye dönüşüyor, bir de ısı açığa çıkıyor. Siz sistemden ısıyı alırsanız örneğin reaksiyondaki sağ kısmı hafiflettiğiniz için reaksiyon sağa doğru kayacaktır, sağa meyledecektir. Örneğin B azalırsa B'yi azalttığınız zaman reaksiyonun dengesi sola doğru meyledecektir, sola kayacaktır. Bunlar niye önemli? Yani bir çocuğunuzu düşünün, yeğeninizi düşünün, para verirseniz gider harcar. Harcadıkça bir daha verirseniz harcar, verirseniz harcar. Bu böyle gider. Bunun gibi bir şey. Ama dünyadaki birçok yere, birçok sisteme uygulanabilir. Bence hemen hemen her şeye uygulanabilir ama gene de bir ihtiyat payı bırakayım. Bazen Bazı olaylar uygulanabilir. Sanırım uygulanabilir. İnsan ilişkilerinde uygulanabilir. Toplumsal olaylarda. Açık erişimde ve açık bilimde de uygulanabilir. Yani siz, biraz önce Mirat Bey söyledi. Şimdi bu makalelere erişmek için biz epey bir para harcıyoruz. Ama bunu biz harcamıyoruz. Kendi cebimizden vermiyoruz. Hazır üniversitelere ULAKBİM tarafından, TÜBİTAK tarafından alınan veri tabanları var. Ve bunların parasını ben vermediğim için bana kolay ve bedava gibi geliyor. Ve bu para sürekli verildikçe bu reaksiyon dengesi devam eder. Denge sürekli devam eder. Biz sürekli para veririz, daha çok para veririz, daha da çok para veririz. Bu denge, bu tür dengeler kolay kurulmaz ama kurulduğu zaman da değişmesi zordur. Böyle bir durum var. Le Chatelier ilkesi, prensibi birçok konuya uygulanabilir. Peki denge bozulursa ne olur? Ne olur sizce? Yani böyle bir denge her şeye uygulayabiliriz. Bozulursa ne olur? İyi mi olur, kötü mü olur? Ha? Evet. Birçok şey olabilir. İyi şeyler olabilir. Kötü şeyler olabilir. Ama bu iyi mi kötü mü olacağı aslında reaksiyona giren maddelerin o reaksiyon için ayırdıkları güce, sayısına, ne kadar etkin olduklarına, katalizörlerin olup olmadığına, ısıya, çevre şartlarına, birçok şeye bağlı. Bu dengenin nasıl bozulduğu önemli. Yani bazı kurulmuş dengeleri bozarken eğer hemen bozalım dengeyi, bırakalım ne olursa olsun diyemiyoruz ne yazık ki. O yüzden üzerinde çok düşünmemiz gerekiyor. O yüzden hep ihtiyatlı kelimeler kullanıyoruz. Çünkü bayağı bir çalışma yapıldı daha önce. Yani bu peer review, akran değerlendirmesi sisteminin yerine ne konulacağı, aynen mi kalacağı gibi konuları belki birazdan daha fazla konuşuruz. Şimdi ben Yaşar Hocam, sevgili hocam burada dün, hocam dedim sizin bu slaytlarınızı kullanabilir miyim dedim. Dünkü konuşmanızdaki. Tabii her şey açık dedi. Ben de rahatlıkla kullanıyorum. Orada duruyordu. Aldım. Dün Yaşar Hoca bazı şeyler anlattı. Çok güzel şeyler. Birçok şeyi de zaten anlıyorsunuz. Orada araştırma iş akışı verdi. Burada göremiyorsunuz ama eminim hocam bahsedecektir birazdan. Bu da bir kimyasal reaksiyon aslında. Sol üst köşedeki şekle bakarsanız yani bir yerden öbür tarafa doğru gidiyor. Şu an 15 tane parametre gösterilmiş. Yayın evleri bunun sondan bir önceki 4, sondan 1, 2 ve 3 ve sondan 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. kutularda. Dolayısıyla aslında fazla bir kısmını oluşturuyor gibi görülmeseler de daha sonra bütün araştırmanın iş akışında yani bilgi üretiminden makaleye dönüşmesine kadar hepsinde var olduklarını söyledi ki doğru. Ve işte bu bir kimyasal reaksiyon. Bu reaksiyon belli bir süre kendi başına olmasına izin verilmiş gibi görünüyor ama sonra dengeye ulaşıyor. O denge yeniden küçük küçük dengeler kuruluyor. Orta şekilde gördüğünüz. Bir sürü mekanizmada bu denge kuruluyor. Her birini ondan sonra bozmak ve üzerinde oynamak kolay olmayacak. Açık bilimle ilgili bir başka bulut böyle bir şekli düşünürseniz bunların tamamını reaksiyona giren maddelere, reaktantlara, reaktiflere benzetebilirsiniz. Her birinin reaksiyonda ve bilgi üretiminde sonuçtaki üründe katkısı var ve iyi kontrol edilmesi gerekiyor. Böyle bir yanı var. İlkay Hanım'ın yine aynı şekli vermişti ya da benzer bir şekil. Orada da yine kimyasal reaksiyon görüyorsunuz. Bunları ben gerçekten gördüğüm zaman burada bir kimya var. Burada çünkü kimyanın kelime anlamı bir taraftan bir bilim, atomlar, moleküller çarpışıyor, bir şeyler yapıyor. Ama öbür taraftan uyum anlamına geliyor. Bunların kimyası uydu diyoruz. Yani o kimya uyum sağlanamazsa orada iyi bir reaksiyon olmuyor demektir. Bir başka anlamı da eskiden biliyorsunuz çok nadir bulunan şeyler için denirdi kimya. Çok az bulunur. Çok değerli maddeler için söylenirdi. Burada belki tanımladık ama bir kere daha Açık bilim, bilimin tüm paydaşların işbirliği yapabileceği ve katkıda bulunabileceği şekilde uygulanmasıdır. Araştırma veri, laboratuvar notları ve diğer araştırma süreçlerine serbest erişimi gerektirir. Bu serbest erişim, araştırmanın veya araştırmaya esas olan veri ve metotların yeniden kullanımının, dağıtımının ve üretiminin mümkün olduğu koşulları kapsar. Tam bir kimyasal reaksiyon tanımı ve dengede bir kimyasal reaksiyon tanımı. Yine Natalya Hanım, açık bilimin ne olduğuyla ilgili birkaç slayt gösterdi. Burada ortadaki slayda bakarsanız büyük bir veri seti var ve aslında bütün dünya birbiriyle bağlantı halinde. Kimyasal reaksiyon ve her bir reaksiyonda olduğu gibi, birçoğunda olduğu gibi denge var. Burada önemli olan o dengede herkesin birbirini görmesi, anlaması, yani birbirine güvenmesi. Bazı şeyler yine bu açık bilim dediğimiz şey, bunu çıkaralım yerine bunu koyalım dediğimiz zaman kendiliğinden olan bir şey değil. Emek gerekiyor ve yeniden bütçeler gerekiyor. Onun için hiçbir zaman bedavaya gelmeyecek, zamanında harekete geçmek lazım diye özetleyebilirim. Şimdi bu dedik ya, bazı dengeler, şu an güzel bir denge var. Çünkü kaliteli bilgi üretimi için akran değerlendirmesinin şart olduğu gibi bir düşünce var. Ben katılıyorum. Gerçekten öyle. Çünkü kalitesiz bilginin literatürde görülmesini istemiyorum. Bana da bulaşmasını istemiyorum. O yüzden güvenmeliyim. O üretilen bilginin laboratuvarda aynı koşullarda sağlandığı zaman yeniden üretilebileceğinin garantisini hissetmek isterim ben çalışmamda laboratuvarda. O yüzden önemli bir şey. Güvenmeliyim. Çok önemli bir şey. Vazgeçilebilir mi sizce? Bence vazgeçilmemeli. Yerine başka geliştirilebilir mi? Evet. Daha iyi bir seçenek olabilir mi? Evet. Akademik yükselmeler atama kriterlerinde kullanılabilir mi? Kesinlikle kullanılabilir, kullanılmalı. Çünkü aksi halde iyi kötüyü birbirinden ayırmak mümkün olmayacak. Peki peer review olmazsa ne olur? Bu soruyu düşünelim. Artık herkesin her istediğini serbestçe paralı ya da parasız yayınladığı bir yerde kaliteyi kim kontrol edecek? Dikkat ediyorsanız burada bazı cevaplar vermek yerine, en azından kendimce daha çok soru sorup bundan sonraki konuşmacılara da pas atmak istiyorum. Yani hakikaten zor değil, kolay bir iş değil, bayağı zorlanacağımız bir süreç. Ben o yüzden bundan sonraki kısımda özellikle daha çok soru sormayı tercih ettim. Çünkü cevapları Yaşar Hocam verir birazdan. Topu ona atayım. Açık erişimli dergilerde sahte, çöp yayınların daha yaygın olduğu dile getiriliyor. Dün de geldi böyle bir soru. Bu doğru mu? Şimdi o kadar çok sık tekrarlandı ki, yani adama demişler ya, sakın işte önemli bir işini yaparken aklına dağda yalnız gezen sarı kuyruklu tilkiyi getirme. Adamın aklından hiç çıkmamış ondan sonra. Bu ona benzedi biraz da. Yani bu genel bir etik problem. Sadece açık erişimle ilgili değil. Açık erişim evet yapısı gereği bazı şeylere daha çok imkan sağlıyor olabilir ama hayır, açık erişim, ahlaksız adam ahlaksızdır. Açık ya da kapalı fark etmez. Çalıyorsa, hırsızsa ahlaksızdır. Açık ya da kapalı mekanda çaldığı önemli değil. Hırsız hırsızdır. Bunun gibi. Dolayısıyla bunun cevabı hayır. Bu genel bir etik problem. Peki ya birileri bizi kandırıyorsa, yani açık bilim verin bunlar iyidir deyip bütün verileri alıyorsa ama kendisi hiç bir şeyi açmıyorsa, hiçbir şey göstermiyorsa, hiç bir bilgisini bizle paylaşmıyorsa, dünyanın bu kadar birbiriyle bağlandığı noktada bu mümkün olabilir mi? Bunu da düşünmenizi isterim. Bence kolay bir şey değil o. Yani o kadar çok kişi aynı anda kandırabiliyorlarsa helal olsun, kanalım o zaman. Robotlar gelince ne olacak? Yani artık yüksek öğretimde de bu akıllı sistemler çok devreye girdi ve birçok maddede hatta bizi sorgulatacak, hayatın anlamıyla, varlığımızla ilgili sorular sorduracak denli işler yapmaya başladılar. Tıbbın bazı alanlarında örneğin birçok şeyi doktorlardan daha iyi, belli o alana özgü doktorlardan daha iyi ya da en az onlar kadar iyi yaptığı gibi şeyler var. Kolay bir şey değil. Bunlar üzerine kafa yormamız gerekiyor. Bence cevap aramamız gerekiyor ama öyle 2 dakikada bulabileceğimiz şeyler değil. Peki, başka bir konu, yine açıklığın anlamıyla ilgili. evet bu bilgisayar açık. Ben içindeki veriye erişebiliyorum, güzel, ama ya yazdığın şeyden bir şey anlamıyorsam ne olacak? Yani o zaman anlaşılır olması da önemli. Bu da üzerinde düşünmemiz gereken bir şey. Bir derginin açık erişim dergide yayımlanması yeterli mi? Bence yeterli değil. Özellikle bunun daha çok yaygınlaşmasını halka, aslında o araştırmanın bir tür sponsor olan kişilere anlatmamız gerekiyor mu? Bence gerekiyor ve o zaman onların da anlaması için bazı şeyler yapmalıyız. Ayrıca bir çaba göstermeliyiz ki herkes, ilgili olan herkes anlasın. Şimdi burada bir tane örnek vereceğim, bitirmek üzereyim. Bu olayı biliyorsunuzdur. Bu çok eskiden, yani bundan 20 yıl önce olan bir mevzu, eminim çoğunuz biliyorsunuz ama söylemekte yarar var. Çünkü kimyasal maddelerin zehirli, kötü, Allah'ın belası şeyler olduğu sürekli söylendi. Kimyasal deyince eşittir, zehirli, kötü. Kimyasal, kötü. Oysa her şey, iyisi de kötüsü de var. Bir sürü şeyde olduğu gibi. Bizi oluşturan atomlar, moleküller, proteinlerin tamamı kimyasal maddelerden, atomlardan, moleküllerden oluşuyor. Nathan Zohner diye bir 14 yaşında bir çocuk 1997 yılında bir kampanya düzenliyor. Afişler asıyor her tarafa. Diyor ki, ben dihydrogen monoxide. It is the invisible killer. Yani dinitrojen monoxide yasaklanmalı. Çünkü bu bir sürü felaketin sebebidir. Bütün sellerde onun fonksiyonu vardır. Sellerin asıl müsebbibidir. Asit yağmurlarının ana maddesidir. O kadar kötü ki yani bundan işte gereğinden fazla aldığınızda hemen ölürsünüz falan. Ve o kadar çok kişi, alandan da bilim camiasından da çok kişi, %97 gibi bir oranda herkes evet yasaklanmalı, dinitrojen monoksit yasaklanmalı kampanyasına katılıyorlar ve imza veriyorlar. Peki nedir bu dihidrojen monoksit? Dihidrojen monoksit su. Onu halkın anlamayacağı bir şekilde dihidrojen monoksit dediğiniz zaman anlamayacağı bir şekilde söylüyor. Su yasaklanmalıdır deyince hadi canım sen de derler. Ama su işte çok olursa sel olur. 3-5 litre içerseniz bir anda gerçekten ölebilirsiniz. O zaman toksik de yapısını gösterir. O yüzden bazen anlaşılmak, bazen anlaşılmamak iyidir ama o dengeyi iyi kurmak lazım. Hakikaten öyle. Bu ilginç bir örnekti. Şimdi ben konuşmamı bitirmek istiyorum. Çünkü bütün bunlarda benden sonra alanın profesyonelleri aslında çok şey anlatacak. O yüzden bildiğim için kısa kesmeye çalışayım. Umarım sözümde durmuşumdur zamanında. Yol uzun, bir tek şeyle bitirmek istiyorum. Bir kişi böyle yürüyerek spor yapıyor ve bir köyden bir başka köye gidecek. Köyde çiftçilik yapmakta olan köylüye sesleniyor. Hey diyor, adam bakıyor. Ya buradan diyor bilmem ne köyüne kaç saatte giderim? Köylü cevap vermiyor. Bir daha sesleniyor, gene cevap vermiyor. Allah diyor senin gibi ne yapsın? Yürümeye başlıyor, 100 metre yürüyor, köylü arkasından sesleniyor. Bu gidişle 2 saatte varırsın. Nasıl yol aldığınız önemli. Biz de bu işte galiba nasıl yol aldığımızı hep birlikte belirleyeceğiz ve bundan sonraki hedefi koyarken işte bu yol alış biçimimizde bize yol gösterecek. Teşekkür ederim.
Sayın hocama çok teşekkür ediyorum. Hem kimyasal reaksiyonlarla açık bilim arasında ilişki kurduğu için hem de bizi bazı konularda bu açıdan düşündürttüğü için ayrıca kendisine soru cevap için de 2 dakika bıraktı. Teşekkür ediyorum. Yaklaşık 23 dakika falan geç başladık ama kısa soru, kısa cevap olmak kaydıyla ben hocamıza hemen varsa salondan sorular ya da yorumlar alayım lütfen. Var mı sorusu olan? Hocam demek ki kimyasal reaksiyonlar aracılığıyla çok daha iyi anlatıyorsunuz olayı. Anlaşılan.
Umarım öyledir.
Peki. Çok teşekkür ediyorum. O zaman hemen vakit kaybetmeden ikinci konuşmaya geçmek istiyorum. Tim Smith, World Wide Web'in doğduğu kurumdan geliyor. Avrupa Parçacık Fiziği Laboratuvarı. Hepiniz World Wide Web'in herhalde 90'ların hemen başında Tim Berners-Lee tarafından geliştirildiğini biliyorsunuzdur. Tim Smith burada İşbirliği, Cihazlar ve Uygulamalar grubunun başkanlığını yürütüyor. Birçok önemli girişimlerde hep bulunmuş bir kişi. Örneğin CERN'ün açık veri portalının lansmanını, büyük verilerini ve daha sonra Nobel ödülü alan Higgs bozonunun canlı olarak keşfini gösteren internet yayınını gerçekleştiren ekibin içerisinde. Ayrıca son yıllarda da bizim de parçası olduğumuz Open Air projesi kapsamında dünya çapında girişimlerini devam ettiriyor. Sözü ben hemen Tim'e bırakıyorum. Eğer hazırsa. Tim kablolanırken. Okay, the floor is yours, Tim.
Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me here to tell you about research data management at CERN. It's a bit loud. Not so loud. Is that still okay? So this is probably quite an extreme example of research data management, but I hope it will inspire some conversation about the necessity that we've run into. So CERN, where I work, is the European Centre for Particle Physics Research. We study the fundamental forces of nature by colliding particles at high energy. We do that in an accelerator, the biggest scientific apparatus in the world, which we've built 100 meters underground. It's 27 kilometers long and is packed full of this phenomenally complex apparatus. So CERN itself is European, but the experiments that run at CERN attract scientists from completely around the world. So there are 120 different nationalities from 600 different universities represented at CERN. So it's truly an international collaboration. So what we do to study the fundamental forces is we build enormous apparatus that study the collisions of the fundamental particles. And we make these collisions happen 40 million times a second. And these apparatus, which are gigantic, have 100 million readout channels in them. So if you multiply the 40 million by the 40,000 by the 100 million, you get a very, very large data rate of actually petabytes per second. But we can't possibly record that, so we filter it down into just a fraction of that data which we record, and so far we've recorded 250 petabytes. So that's 250 million gigabytes of data. So this is a huge amount of data, and my problem is how to do the research data management plan on that. But that's not the only problem. Because of this international context, now the necessity for data management comes from all different angles. It comes from the governments right at the highest level. Even the G8 has made directives about what we should be storing and how we should be doing open science. Each of the funding bodies have their own policies. The research councils of each of the different countries. Each of the universities has their own policies. And each of the outlets where we try and publish have their own policies. So our problem is how to make this mishmash of 600 different universities' requirements in 120 different countries actually into a plan, an action plan for storing and sharing the data. And the way we do that is, in fact, by making our own open data policies and support them with our own open data infrastructure. So each of the 4 major experiments that I showed on the ring has created an open data policy, each tuned to its own collaboration, but each essentially having the elements of sharing as much as possible, as soon as possible. And to explain how this is done, I have to explain that we classify our data into different levels of complexity. Level 1, the top level, is the data which is easiest for us to make open access instantly, it's the publication data. The data that actually supports and explains what goes into the publication itself. Underneath that, level 2 is data that we have prepared special data sets for specific purposes. It may be for outreach, for education, for training purposes. So it's data sets which aren't the actual data set we used, but have been simplified in some way so that it's easier for other people to use them. Underneath that is the level 3 data set, which is really the collision data, the actual data set that we use for doing our physics on. It contains an enormous amount of data, but to understand that, you have to use the programs that we've written to analyze the data. So the difference between level 2 and level 3 is that you can create your own, conceivably on the level 2, simpler programs. Level 3, you essentially have to use our programs, the hundreds of millions of lines of code. And then underneath that is the level 4 data, the raw data. Now this we actually don't share, for the simple reason is it's even within the collaborations, there's only a few people that understand it, and to use it you have to have all the calibration data, all the databases, all the run data that explains what the conditions of the beams were. So it's inconceivable that anybody else could use that data. It's just no point in sharing it. Although eventually we will put it out there, but at the moment what we do is we process it into the level 3 data that people can understand and use, and we share all of that, because that's actually useful. But we do it after an embargo period. We think it's natural that the scientists who've invested 20 years to build and run an experiment get a period of exploitation to themselves, and then we release it to the world. So I think this is a natural way of encouraging open science, is to allow the scientists to get the most out of what they've been creating first. So a little bit more detail about these different levels. So the publication data. Now, at first this might seem trivial, you just put the plots out. And this is what many publishers are encouraging us to do more and more. But in fact, that's not useful. If you just put the plot out, we find that our theorists end up measuring literally with a tape measure on the plot to try and understand what we've put out there. So what we mean by the publication data is actually the tabular data that goes behind any graphical data, and even the little algorithms that are done to make the plotting and the fitting, so that you can actually redo a fit. You can redo a top-level analysis with the publication data. So this is slightly more than just pictures. It's actually usable data already itself. But that's just the top of the iceberg. Underneath that, we have much bigger and bigger data sets. So to actually store and share them, we have to marry two different worlds. The world of the digital library, where we do the open access of the PDFs, the articles, which we've done for many years and written our own software to do that, and the actual data management suites that are managing the 250 petabytes of data. So we have to somehow merge these two functionalities in order to be able to serve open data to the world. And we do that by making our own software stack, which is called the Open Data Portal, which we also share with the world as open source software. In this Open Data Portal, we share the data and the software, and we do it in two different ways. As I say, we do it for purposes that people can use quickly, understand the essence of our science, and then that's the educational side, but we also do it in a way that we can share the real data we used ourselves, the real software, so people can attempt to reproduce the analyses themselves, which is the true open science. So the first one, education, is more for inspirational purposes, and therefore the tools that we put out there are not actually the tools necessarily we use ourselves. They're more tools for visualizing, for interacting with the data, for making some histograms to try and get a feeling for what the particles are doing when they're colliding and what energy depositions happen in our detectors. So this is an educational and outreach. It's trying to encourage people. So we share these with the schools, where they have programs in the universities to actually get more and more scientists interested to come into fundamental research. So it's a way of popularizing our data and getting it to the world at large. Another special data set that we prepare is actually for a different purpose. It's actually for helping us by harnessing the best minds in the world here in machine learning. So we've done our own algorithms that try and spot the interesting events, the interesting physics within our data sets. But we admit that we're not the best at writing software necessarily. There are computer scientists out there that do better. We don't have necessarily the best machine learning algorithms. So there's actually something called the Kaggle Challenge, where the machine learning communities put out challenges to each other. So we put one of our data sets in there, actually the data set in which we found the Higgs particles, and we said to the machine learning guys, can you invent algorithms that find them more efficiently than we found them? So this was an interesting challenge, and in fact they did. So now we're learning from the way that they made their algorithms to make even our scientific algorithms better. So what we do there is we put out the data set and what we did in our algorithms, and we take what they discovered in their algorithms, and we put that all back out as our level 2 data, again available through the Open Data Portal, hopefully to inspire more computer scientists and scientists around the world. Underneath that is the more complex data, the real data sets, the level 3 data. So this is the data set that the 3,000 physicists on one of our experiments actually analyze themselves. And it's the programs that they actually use themselves. But these programs are incredibly complex, and they have very specific running environments. So it's quite inconceivable that someone would have a similar environment naturally at their institute. And so what we do is we put out the virtual environments that encapsulate our entire analysis chain and all of the software in it as virtual machines within the same Open Data Portal. So you can download the entire environment and the data and run it exactly as we do at CERN. So this, we think, is the best way for someone to understand our data set, but it's also the hardest to do. Because you really have to have a huge amount of computing power to be able to reproduce the same analyses. Nonetheless, we put it out like that. It made a splash around the world, because obviously you can now access data from the collider at CERN. And here are pictures of the actual virtual environments fired up on computers in different places. So the headlines were, that you can actually do your analysis on your sofa now, which is a nice idea, but in fact, not many sofas have this much computing power. So you can get the data. Can you do the analysis? That's not so clear, but it didn't mean that people weren't interested in it, because open science really inspires people. So you see that within the moment of the release of the data, the first release and the press release, there were 40,000 people tried to download the data within the first hours. And when we put out further releases and we did a Reddit and things, again, tens of thousands of people. So people really want to analyze and access the fundamental data from frontier science, which is really exciting. So what can they do with it? So, as I say, we have our analysis programs, but the fact that we put it out there inspires people to do their own. So at the time we put it out there, we were using C++ mainly for our analyses and big complex programs. And we found that people from other sciences who started to look at our data did it in different ways. So they started using IPython notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, to analyze in ways that we hadn't thought, which inspired making different Python libraries that we hadn't made ourselves for the mathematical analyses. So every time you put out your data to open science, it inspires people and they think about it in different ways. So, but can you do actually something useful for it? Well, for a year or two, it was more the educational outreach, the learning phases. But now, last year, the first physics paper in a peer-reviewed journal got made by somebody, for a team of people who didn't work at CERN, who've never come to CERN, who've never interacted with our experiments. They simply downloaded our data. And so it is possible to do interesting new things with a data set that we, the 3,000 physicists on the experiment, had not thought of doing. So open science is useful, open science does inspire people, and even the most complex data sets are worth putting out there. A bit more about the level 3 data. So as I said, the analyses themselves are pretty complex. They have multiple steps, and we want to capture the entire computational workflow in order to put it out. So to do this, rather than just put out only the virtual environment, we want to put out every single step, all of the analysis workflows, all of the algorithms together. But to do that, we have to actually interface with everywhere that our physicists are storing that information. Some of them put it in some of their software in GitHub, in SVN, in Git. They describe the analyses. Again, you have to understand analysis through the way that it's been described, so you have to capture where they've described it, some of them on local disks. So what we had to do, we found when we first put out the data set, was we had to have librarians sit along with computer scientists, sit alongside the physicists to try and find out every single step of those analysis chains, what program was used, to describe it properly, and to put it out in our open data portal. And this took literally a year of work of all of these different people combined to make sure that they could actually find the data that and the programs that were used for the publications. So we realized that this process wasn't particularly sustainable. If every single publication, and we put out 300 a year, had to go with that much effort. So we had to invent a different way of capturing this. So we decided to make something called the Data Analysis Preservation Portal. So that's an old slide, sorry. Where, in fact, we've interfaced with each of those different sources. So we make connectors into where the physicists are doing their analyses. And with those connectors, we draw in the information into one place. It's a place that's closed. It's not accessible from outside because it's meant to accompany the physicist through their analysis. And I think this is extremely important. What we learned from trying to open the data first was that unless you capture it while you're doing it, trying to find it later is extremely difficult when the publication is being made. So having a system that accompanies the research data management system that captures all along the closed phase of exploitation of the physicists is essential to have, at the moment you're going to open it up, everything there accessible and usable. So we created this analysis capture mechanism, which basically started off with a set of different steps, different questions, lots of different metadata, with a huge form that the physicists had to fill in. And of course, this is not helping their research, that's just slowing them down. So as I say, what we started to do was make, instead, links where they could drop a URL of the data set, drop a URL of the software, and then the system itself would go out and harvest everything for the analysis and put it in one place. This is a much more helpful way, because then the scientists see that they are being helped to comply with the requirements of research data policies. But more than that, by capturing everything correctly, we were actually helping them to actually do their analysis better, because one of the common problems we have is a constant turnaround of students, of researchers, and to tell the new student what the last one was doing was almost impossible because they took most of the stuff away on the laptop. So to have captured it actually helps the scientists pass knowledge on from one generation to another of students, from one researcher to another, and from one of our experiments to another. So actually by doing this, we're actually helping internally our science as well as preparing for open science for other scientists. So this was just more and more of the descriptive data. So the way we do it, as I say, is through software that we've written ourselves, but we make sure that it's all open source. I think that's essential for doing true open science. And we make sure that it complies with the standards of OAI, and we try and be present in all the different places to show where our data is, to show how you can access it, and get as much of the certification we can of our own processes, such that people can rely on them and use them again in their other sciences, their other contexts. So one thing I haven't mentioned here, but I mentioned it yesterday, was we take the same stack, which is used completely for ourselves to open our data for everyone else, and we've made from that stack another service, which we open up the same capabilities that we use for ourselves to everyone else. And this service is called Zenodo, which we hope is as a way of inspiring and initiating people's first adventures in open science, where they don't have the same sophisticated stacks themselves. They can just use somewhere that can already store their open data, their open software, and can start doing open science for themselves. It's exactly the same stack. It uses the same concepts. It's just got a user interface that's tuned for multiple sciences rather than our own science. So with that, I'd like to conclude that open science, I think, is the only way to do good science. It can be useful if you capture everything at the right time in the right way for your own scientists, and by sharing it and preserving it, it can be useful for other scientists today and forever into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim, for this fascinating talk. After the chemistry of open science, now I think we are into the physics of data management in enormous amounts at CERN, I guess. I once read that you could only capture only 1 or 2% of the data generated at CERN.
1 per million.
1 per million, yeah. Mm-hmm. So with that, we have a few minutes for questions. Please don't be shy. You can ask your questions either in English, or if you need help, I'm more than happy to do so. Go ahead. Zeki Bey.
Hello, Zeki Çelikbaş from Istanbul Technical University. Tim, I want to give you a different information to you about your data. As a university, we have music department, and we have a professor making music from downloaded data from CERN and publishing on his website. Anyway, but I want to ask you a different question. You know, you have lots of data, you are producing lots of data, but downloading data is too hard from the internet because of petabytes of data. It's impossible to download for one person from the internet. Is it open data channel your first channel for sharing data, or are there any other channels to distribute data to world, and how much data downloaded in a specific time of period, do you know?
Okay, it's a very good question, and that's why going to the extreme probably might inspire other people. So the answer is yes, 250 petabytes is a bit too much to share easily. So what we do ourselves for our own analyses is also, we haven't got a big enough compute center at CERN to analyze it, so we actually empower the compute centers around the world at the different universities, at 180 different universities. We employ them all in the analysis. So to get the data there, we actually have dedicated fiber optic links to 10 different sites around the world, and from there we do use the public internet off to the 180 universities. But it's a tiered system, so we have flows of data to main centers close in the countries, and then from the main centers over the public internet. So the real answer to your question is, to get that data flowing efficiently, we have to use special routes for a lot of it, but then for most of it, it's normal routes and normal software. And there are ways of tuning the way web servers serve data to be highly efficient in the way that a normal web server just tuned for serving PDF files, articles, is not. So in fact, our Open Data Portal is tuned exactly like that. And Zenodo, which I said for open science, we've done exactly the same. So if you try and upload a massive file into Zenodo, you'll find that it's actually tuned to go phenomenally fast in there, because we have so many disk arrays behind it, and we avoid all the memory copies that you normally get in any normal service at a public site. And it goes directly at full speed off the internet into our local net and onto the files. And that's how we serve it also to the world. So yes, you can serve terabytes of data like this. It is practical, but you have to set up the servers and have the initial internet links at high capacity for that to work. So people really have downloaded almost petabytes. We have 2 petabytes available, and we know that some of them have downloaded half a petabyte. I think the people that did the analysis downloaded a whole petabyte of data. So yes, it's possible.
Our Büyük data center is a tier 2 data center for CERN. We are running some nodes for Atlas and Sierra.
Fantastic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
TÜBİTAK Ulakbim Veri Merkezi CERN Tier 2 veri merkezi olarak hizmet ediyor. Bir kısım data tabii 250 petabayt değil ama bir kısım data TÜBİTAK'ta da replike ediliyor Ulakbim'de. Ve Atlas CMS deneylerinin bazı nodları da gene TÜBİTAK'ta ayrılmış olan kapasite içinde kullanılabiliyor Tier 2 olarak.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, so I said our compute center isn't big enough to analyze the entire data. We have to use the combined power. So in fact, we only have something like a quarter of the power. We've got 100,000 cores at CERN, and that's not enough. So we actually use the universities, the tier 2 centers, as the prime analysis for our physicists. So it's an essential part of the network, all of these centers. I'd just like to comment on the other comment that you said about the musical usage. So this is the other thing about when you open your data set. You know exactly why you recorded it. You know what you're looking for in it. But by opening it up, you have no idea what other people will do with it. So some of the mathematics professors have downloaded it for doing teaching about randomness or pseudo-randomness. So just literally looking at the data itself as data, not as particles, just as bits and bytes. Other people are doing statistical analyses. Other people are doing these tuning of algorithms. So they're not actually doing the physics that we are doing, but they're finding use in our data sets. So just opening data up can lead to all sorts of different things.
Yes, it is very quite
We can have one more last question, if there is any. Yeah, go ahead.
Tim, I was just wondering whether you could tell us a bit more about persistent identifiers. Like, how many different persistent identifiers do you use it, and how do you benefit it in your own system?
So essentially, internally, we have our own identifiers. We built all of our data management systems long before the web was invented, long before research data management requirements and policies came along. But what we've done is to open it up. We use uniquely DOIs. So that's what we assign to all of our objects. And that's why we created Zenodo also as a DOI minting facility. So whatever we do internally doesn't matter, because when we expose it to the world, it's all minted. The software, the data, the algorithms. So it's only things is DOIs. Then, of course, for the physicists, we encourage them, or we force them to have ORCIDs. So that's for the people. And that's essentially it. We try not to have a diversity of solutions. Did you have something else in mind? Or no, that was it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now is Marta Teperek's Şimdi sıra Marta Teperek'te. Marta Teperek bize bir üniversite, teknik üniversite içerisinde veri yönetim ve veriyle ilgili hizmetlerin nasıl yapıldığını anlatacak. Kendisi 2017 yılından bu yana Hollanda'daki Delft Teknik Üniversitesi'nde veri yönetimi konusunda koordinatörlük görevini yürütüyor. Aynı zamanda da uluslararası alanlarda veri yöneticiliği ile ilgili bloglar yazıyor, yazılar yazıyor, toplantılara sıklıkla katılıyor. Bugün Marta bize hem Delft Teknik Üniversitesi'nde yapılan çalışmaları özetleyecek hem de aynı zamanda sanıyorum bir canlı anket yapacak. Floor is yours, Marta.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for welcoming me here today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So today I would like to tell you about some activities that we've been doing at the Technical University Delft, where I'm working at the library, aiming at improving data management practices. So as Tim was talking about, that in order to open up your research, you need to have your research data or research properly managed. So this is what I will be talking about, like what kind of steps we are trying to do in order to make open science possible. And just to introduce you, this picture down here, it's the library of our university. So our mission is also to be welcoming and inviting to people, to researchers around the campus. And also as a warning, I would like to start with a little outline of my talk. So at the beginning, I will give you a little bit of background to TU Delft. I would like to tell you about why data management practices are important. And then I would like to present you with a case study. What can an institution do to improve data management practices? So I'll give you some examples from our university. But as I told you, there is a little warning. So at the very end of the presentation, so about half of my presentation will be me giving you some examples of what we are doing. But for the other half, I would like to really hear your opinions about what you think is important to improve data management practices at your institution. So there will be an interactive session, and I would really rely on your participation. So please don't switch off, be attentive, because I'll be asking some questions at the end. So just to start, because Turkey is such a big country and Istanbul such a big city. Netherlands is such a small country with a very small population. So first I wanted to contextualize where Delft is. And if you look at the map of the Netherlands, Delft is this little city between The Hague and Rotterdam. And just to give you some context, The Hague is one of the two capitals in the Netherlands, and it has got 500,000 people, and if you go to the city at 10 o'clock, it's completely empty. So that's completely different context than Istanbul. And everybody cycles, we don't drive. And just to give you another funny examples about Delft and about the Netherlands, that's a very collaborative nation, and I guess the place where the Netherlands is located and the proximity to the sea forced them to be really collaborative, so they have been trying to steal the land from the sea. And if you look at the old map of the Netherlands, all these areas was actually sea, so just compare it this one to this one, it changed a lot. And TU Delft, and Delft is actually there. So if not the engineers, we wouldn't be there, we would be under the water. Sometimes it's funny when you think, you're working there and you reflect on, actually, we are so many meters above the sea level. So hopefully it will stay like that. And just some serious stuff. So some statistics. I guess you might want to know what kind of institutions we are. So TU Delft, Technical University of Delft, is a research-intensive institution, and we are the 11th top beneficiary of Horizon 2020 funding. We have 8 different faculties. They are all related to technology. That used to be a polytechnic, now it's a technical university. But they are all related to some kind of engineering or technology management. And we have 5,000 employees, and this includes PhD students. So PhD students are employed at TU Delft, they receive pension and everything. And on top of that, we have around 20,000 students. So, coming back to the main topic of today's presentation, so why good data management practices are important? And to reflect on that, I would like to present you with a question that was asked to researchers by a journal called Nature that I'm sure many of you have heard about. So more than 1,500 researchers were surveyed, and they were asked a question, is there a reproducibility crisis in research? And I would just like to draw your attention to a couple of figures that 52% of researchers thought that yes, there is a significant crisis in research. 38% of them said that yes, there is a slight crisis. So altogether, 90% of researchers thought that there is indeed a reproducibility crisis in research, which I think is quite a lot of them. And quite strikingly, there were some questions to researchers that thought like, did you ever struggle to reproduce research findings? And 50% of them, they said that they even have problems reproducing their own research results. So I think that's something that let us think about, what's the reasons of this reproducibility crisis. So there was indeed another question asked in the very same survey, and researchers were asked what kind of factors contribute to your reproducible research. And some of them, I guess, are a bit less surprising. There is this selective reporting, so the pressure to publish positive results, not to report negative findings, which are less interesting, less sexy. We just want to publish interesting stories, which will show how we manage to heal the world, all the diseases that there are. There is, of course, this pressure to publish, so publish or perish. Some of you might have heard, unless you have many publications in high impact factor journals, then it's very difficult to be a researcher and to focus on quality research. And of course, some of the researchers, especially the early career ones, mentioned insufficient oversight and mentoring. So people just focusing on the results, on the outcome, on the number of papers, but actually nobody taking the time to mentor the students, to give them the good example and training. And one important aspect that I would like to focus on today was also that supporting data, methods, and code were not available, which I think is quite important and something that I would like to explore today. And an interesting real-life example of the importance of sharing research data is, some of you might have heard, there was a very famous or infamous research scandal in the Netherlands, and that's perhaps also why research data management is being considered very seriously in our small country. There was a professor, Diederik Stapel, professor of psychology, very famous guy, so all, like, I don't remember, I think 12 or 13 universities in the Netherlands were fighting to get this professor to teach at their universities, to be the dean of their faculties. Actually, that was discovered that the huge majority of his research data throughout the years, so over 50 papers, were absolute fake. So he didn't want to share data, but at some point where people started to asking, oh, that sounds too good to be true, like your story is really interesting, but we would like to get the data. He fabricated all the data just wasn't there. So he was basically making up everything to have these high impact factor publications. So in a way, data sharing is quite important because you can really spot frauds or at least make it much more difficult for people to fake their results. So just a reflection that I guess there is a role for all of us to make sure that researchers can do reproducible research practices, can practice reproducible research, and that they are supported in that. And for now, I would like to give you an example of what we are doing at TU Delft to support good data management, good data stewardship practices. What we have started this year, or actually towards the end of last year, is the Data Stewardship Project. And what that is, it's really something that probably many of you are doing. We really aim to develop mature practices for working with research data across the whole campus. So it's not something superficial. We would really like to make sure that every researcher at TU Delft know that it's important, know why we have to do reproducible research, and what are the elements of doing reproducible research. And as I mentioned before, and as Tim has already stressed today, so thank you for your previous presentation, if you don't manage your data properly, you can't open up your data, because what would you open up if you have no idea what your files are, how they are connected with each other? Research data really has to be properly managed if we are to talk about open science, openness, reproducible research. So the data stewardship program has a couple of central aspects to that, and the first one is that we would really like to focus on research. So it's not really some people from the library coming and telling researchers, this is how you should be doing research, I know best. We actually thought that it's quite important that we put research and researchers at the center. We are partners in discussions with them. So how to achieve that? I guess it sounds very nice, but actually how do we do it in practice? So we thought that that's quite important to have disciplinary specific, dedicated, subject specific expertise within the university. So what we did, this is the pictures of 8 different faculties at TU Delft. We have appointed a dedicated data steward at every faculty at TU Delft. And these are people who have disciplinary background. So actually, when we looked for people who would be helping researchers to improve their data management practices, we were not looking at people who have years of expertise in managing data. We've been looking for people who have research experience in the discipline, in the area of research of that faculty. What it meant in practice that very often these are people who have PhD experience or postdoc from the very same faculties because they know exactly what kind of research is being done. And on top of that, of course, we provide very intense training for them on data management aspects. But our reasoning behind that was that it's perhaps easier to teach a researcher, they are very smart people, some information about data management, about funders' policies, about some tools available for researcher, than to teach somebody who doesn't have the disciplinary background 5 years of research practices and all the, different pressures, different community standards. So our rationale was behind that was to try to appoint researchers who understand researchers, who can speak the same language, and then teach them data management skills on top. And as I mentioned, really the key principle, I'm like repeating myself, but I think it's really important that research stays central. So the key thing that data stewards are doing, they are not police, they are consultants. They have meetings with researchers, they have workshops, they work with them, they come to their computers, they look at their data files, and they try to improve their data management practice by incrementally changing them. So what can you do today? What can you do tomorrow? How we can make these little changes, they make your data management practices a little bit better. So the objective is to improve cultures. It's not to be compliant with any policies. It's really to make our behaviors better, to make our practices, our research a bit more efficient. And another thing, because we also thought when you think about being disciplinary specific, I suppose having just one person per faculty, that's not really enough because research can be quite diverse. Even if we have only 8 faculties, they're all doing some kind of engineering. That's lots of differences between aerospace engineering, civil engineering, or technology management, as you probably can imagine. One of them are more policy people or ethics people. Other ones are really constructors. The other one would fly to space, and perhaps some have discussions with researchers from Teams department. But we thought that it's really not enough just to have one person. They can't be the experts on everything. So we're also looking at identifying researchers within faculties who are interested in data management aspects, who are interested in open science, and we have invited them to become data champions. And these are people who advocate for good data management practices within their own communities, and in a way that also acts as some sort of reward for them, because they are already practicing good behaviors. They like to be called champions, they can put it on their CVs, they can have it as some sort of acknowledgement of their own activities. And as Tim was suggesting, showing his very nice tools at CERN, having, all these people who help you and talk and can improve your practices is not really enough. We need also to have some tools, we need to have effective workflows. So basically making sure that whatever data management practices we would like researchers to adhere and to adopt, it's very easy to follow. And probably as many universities in Turkey, our TU Delft University in the Netherlands, although very small, has got lots of, different stakeholders, and the university is quite fragmented. So we have lots of different people who are interested in some aspects of data management. And just to name a couple of examples, we have, of course, the library at the center. I'm sure that many of you are from the library. We have the researchers, the data steward, but the ICT services, so the IT support, the people who provide storage for researchers where they can actually put the data somewhere. The finance people, of course, they are interested in making sure that whatever we are spending at the university, we can spend sustainably. So how do we recover our costs? Senior management, what do researchers do with all their time? Should we be spending all this money on data management? Then legal services, is everything that we are doing actually legally compliant with all the different laws in the country? The graduate school, of course, those that train the student, the valorization center who want to make money on innovation, and especially at TU Delft, we have lots of partnership with industry. These are the people who want to commercialize science. There are sometimes conflicts of interest with open science, so we have to be very careful in there. And then when you look at many other, like even human resources, are also interested in knowing what kind of skills researchers should have in order to get promoted to the next career level. So that whole landscape is quite difficult for researchers to navigate when they need to know who I have to contact at certain stages of my application or of writing a grant proposal. And they seem to be sometimes complaining that we don't talk to each other. They have to enter the same information multiple thousands times. So what we are working on, that's not yet ready, so I can't really show you the demo, but we are working with all those different stakeholders to create a single workflow to connect all these different people, and this will be based on a data management plan. So in a way, we would like researchers to fill in a simple tick box exercise, short data management plan. We try to make it as lightweight as possible, but something that would inform the appropriate service providers, for example, the IT people, oh, this person will have 1 petabyte of data. Where are we going to store this data? How much money that's going to cost? Let's better budget this on the grant proposal. So this is still in progress, but we would really like to add value that researchers would feel that filling in a data management plan is not just an empty PDF document that doesn't matter to anybody, but actually that's a place where you can communicate with all these different service providers across the university. And at the same time, we of course try to make the data sharing, the data archiving part as easy as possible to our researchers. And to this extent, we have a data archive called 40U Center for Research Data. And this has been created as a collaborative project between 3 different technical universities. We have the same kind of data, the same type of problems. Why not to collaborate? The Dutch like to collaborate. And just to also to say that the archive is open to anybody. So if you have some technical data sets within your universities, you are more than welcome to deposit the data within our archive. And it's a certified and trusted research repository. We have the data seal of approval certificate to make sure to show to researchers this is something that is credible, they can trust it, the data will be available for a long time. All the data sets, we guarantee that will be preserved for at least 15 years. And as Tim nicely explained, each data set also get a DOI. So basically, we make sure that data sets are findable and researchers can always find the same particular data sets and identify it and make sure that this is not ambiguous and researchers can really find the particular data set. And we have over 7,500 data sets at the moment. And one more thing that we try to encourage researchers how to use that repository is we are also offering a data refinement fund. So if somebody has got a collection which might be valuable, but I don't know, for whatever reasons, nobody really took care of that, there is not good metadata, we are allowing them to get up to 5,000 euros to actually prepare this data for deposition. And of course, we support them in that process together with the data stewards. And finally, before going and closing the discussion and turning the floor to you guys, one important thing, I guess, when you think about your university support services is also to make sure that the importance of good data management is recognized at the senior management level, so at the policy level. And the reason for that, even as I mentioned before, that the aim of our project is not really to monitor compliance, but I think having a policy on data management is quite important to get all those different stakeholders on the same page, on the same level. We all know what we are trying to achieve as a university, but also to make sure that with changes, with people changes, with rectors changes, with your university leaders changes, that it's still on the main agenda of the university. So indeed, we have a policy on research data management. We actually have a couple of different policies within a small university. The first one is the framework policy on research data management, and this is something which specifies TU Delft-wide roles and responsibilities. And I have to say that having this policy in place and having it approved by the executive board of TU Delft really made a difference and really helped all those different stakeholders that I mentioned before to collaborate, because they all understood that's also my role. I'm also responsible for improving data management practices. We have to all work together. And on top of that, and that's something that we don't yet have in place, the data stewards this year and next year will be working with their faculties to develop faculty-specific policies on research data management. And the reason why we have faculty-specific policies and the central policy talking about the university-wide roles and responsibilities is because we really want to make sure that the faculty policies are not that PDF document somewhere on the website. We want to make sure that this reflects disciplinary differences and researchers can identify themselves and their needs within the policy. So that's something that they really help to create, and they feel it's important to them and to their faculties. And there will be some templates provided by me to make sure that, you know, there is some coherence between all these different policies. And finally, just thinking about the reproducibility crisis and some of the aspects mentioned there, like the pressure to publish positive results, the high competition that we observe in academia. It's also important that institutions look at their way they hire and promote researchers. So who do we want to get as the new professors at the university? Do we care to get the people who publish in high impact factor journals? Or perhaps we would like to hire people for whom open science is important and for whom reproducible research is important. So that's something that we have discussions currently within TU Delft, and this has been largely inspired, and I would certainly encourage you to read that article, by colleagues from the Utrecht Medical Center, also in the Netherlands, 1 hour away from Delft, so we have a lot of connections with them. They have actually changed the hiring and promotion criteria for researchers, and instead of looking at the number of high impact factor papers that researchers had, they're actually asking them to explain in a portfolio, so they write like a 4-page document, what were the most important contributions they made this year or in the 5 past years to research, to community, to people in general. So it can be they did some important teaching and they helped to educate new bunch of students. Or perhaps they made a big discovery that helped to provide a cure for lots of people. So it can be much more than just impact factor of a paper. So as they say, fewer numbers, better science. We should really think about our metrics. And just to mention finally, that's my last slide before I will ask you for your contribution. We are also part, as TU Delft and as every Dutch university, of a national plan for open science. And I think it's quite important because we also like to collaborate and make sure that whatever we do, whatever changes we implement at our universities, are also reflected at other universities in the Netherlands. And the main reason for this is if you would imagine changing the hiring and promotion criteria just at Delft, but then that researcher would go somewhere else to work and they would ask him, but where are all your papers? And then he would say, oh, actually, I've been doing teaching for the past 5 years. I was the best teacher ever. About it, we don't care. We just want to see your papers. So we really have to act in collaboration to make sure that they have the safe environment and they be recognized similarly by other universities as well. Okay, so that's the end of my part that I have presented to you, the end of my talking, and now I would really love to have a discussion with you. And I've been thinking, because I've heard that this would be a workshopy part, but with that many people, we of course can't split into groups and work effectively together, so I thought about an online activity instead. So I would like to discuss with you what helps in general and what can you do at your institutions to improve data management practices. So for that, yes?
Yeah. Once you are done, I'll try to give instructions for him to connect.
Okay.
Go ahead and wrap up and then I'll...
Okay. So basically what I just wanted to say, if you can go to this page, www.menti.com, and use the code 640682.
Thank you, Marta, for this great talk, and thank you for informing us about the TU Delft data stewardship applications and practices. I'll switch to Turkish and try to perhaps help with the survey part here, okay? Marta'ya teşekkür ederiz. Son olarak bir toparlama yapacağım ama şu anda bu www.menti.com adresine bağlanabilenlerin bu adrese bağlanıp 640682 kodunu kullanarak buradaki veri yönetimiyle ilgili sordukları sorulara katkıda bulunabilirseniz memnun olacağını söyledi. Deneyin, herhalde internet bağlantısı birçoğumuzda var, telefonlarda. Belki onun üzerine hemen anında bu verilere dayanarak birkaç şey daha söylemek isteyecektir diye tahmin ediyorum. Şimdi isterseniz telefonu olanlar, bağlanma imkanı olanlar bağlanırlarsa son birkaç dakikayı da buna harcayacağız.
Okay, thank you very much. So, if I just go to the first page in here. Oh, wow, you've already started responding. Thank you very much. So, the first question on that survey is, what's the impact on improving data management practices versus effort? So, how difficult it is to create of setting up a data repository? Okay. People think that's a lot of work, but also that it's important in terms of providing some impact for the data management practices. Okay. Some more responses coming, but I think we sort of have some answers from you which are quite consistent. They don't change anymore. So I'm sorry that I'll be standing back to you, but I would like to then we will reflect on all the results. So I will just draw it here. Okay, and here is impact. And here is effort. Okay. Number one, I think, was sort of in that area. So may I ask a question, if we can ask, because I could see that people voted differently. Who thought that it's zero effort and zero impact? A couple of people, so don't be shy. I can see that at least 5 people thought that it's zero impact and zero effort. A volunteer, a brave person who want to raise their hand and admit. There's no penalty. Some people, I will ask the people in the other corner as well what they thought. Anybody wants to say? So maybe let's start. Who thought that it's a lot of effort, but also that it's very important, a lot of impact to create a repository? You can raise your hand. Somewhere there. Can we ask a person there, who was the first person to say, why did you think it's a lot of effort and why do you think it's important? Do you have another microphone? Just one?
I can. Okay, I can use it. Yeah, I think it needs a lot of efforts and also produces very big impact. Because it is not easy to set up such systems. It requires some expertise or at least amount of time, learning some new software, new systems. But it produces a good impact because the outcome is obvious. I think what we are talking here all day, and it is worth that effort, I can say.
Thank you. Another person there, would you like to add something to that? No. Okay.
In the beginning of the process, it could be most important thing is effort. Maybe we need to collaborate with other people, for all stakeholders. We need more strong effort for the collective people together with work same aim, and after results will come after this effort.
Thank you. So do we find somebody brave who thought that it's little impact and little effort, or perhaps not at the very bottom, but somebody a bit less brave, but who would like to say why do they think it's little impact to create a repository? There are no bad answers. It's a discussion.
No, I thought actually impact was much more actually difficult than the effort, because probably if you just plan it, you know, okay, I'm just talking about if everything goes well, it's a technical decision, and if you plan it, so you can do it, but the impact of it and the engagement of the user, because that takes more time, I guess, so that's my approach.
Anybody else would like to add something to that statement? That's okay, we can move to the next question. Thank you very much for your contributions. And the next question, it's what's the impact versus effort, again, of creating a list of recommended data repositories? So list, where would you say researchers can put their data here if they want it to be archived and preserved for a long time? Very diverse statements. Let's wait for a couple of more responses. So far, very similar to the repository. Okay. Some people are still voting. So I hope you would agree with me that I think in general it has been moved towards to less effort, but impact is sort of similar to what we would have achieved by creating a repository. So perhaps if I can now ask somebody brave, if there is somebody brave who voted in that corner, so high impact and low effort, somebody brave who would like to comment on their discussion, on their decision. You?
It was very easy to prepare some recommendation list because lots of universities outside of Turkey have this list. We just translate in Turkish and we can prepare. But impact is very high because all the faculty members really needs that kind of recommendation list. Yani kısaca böyle bir araştırmacılarımız için bir tavsiye listesi ya da yapılacaklar listesi hazırlamamız aslında bizim için çok kolay. Çünkü dünyada zaten yapılmış bir çalışma. Biz bu listeyi çok çabukça bulup hemen sadece Türkçe'ye çevirerek onlara bunu verebiliriz. Ama onlar bunun faydalarının ne olduğunu liste şeklinde gördüğü zaman onlar da yaratacağımız etki çok daha yüksek olacak.
So who thought, because there was lots of people who thought that's quite a lot of effort to prepare such list, and Gultekin just mentioned that he thought probably that's little effort because the lists are already there. So just curious why some people thought that it's a lot of effort just to discuss. There are no wrong answers. Who would like to comment on a lot of effort? Yeah?
I am still we need to for more effort because of sometimes we just thinking about for international based science, but sometimes we need to for local science or local legal issues. Maybe we need to for solve some issues and some barriers about for our atmosphere or the general scientific things about our country. Maybe we need to for solve the past barriers for our as a local barriers. We need to put more effort than it's not easy for the easily adapted to translate or put that rules for whole community.
Mm-hmm. That's a fair point. Anybody else would like to add on something on top of that? That's okay. So, indeed, I agree with you. In terms of community engagement, you have various communities that might not always work for everybody. But let's go for the next question. So, again, a very easy one, seemingly. Impact versus effort of setting up a help desk for all data management questions. So a single inbox where people can send all questions about research data management, a help desk. Little effort, high impact so far. More effort. More effort. Oh, a lot of impact. High impact of a help desk. Okay, let's wait for a couple of more responses. Thank you very much. So, can I ask somebody who thought that it's, perhaps maybe let's focus on that corner, who thought that it's very low effort and high impact in there? Any volunteers who would like to identify themselves? You can say in Turkish and we can translate. Nobody brave.
Yardım masası kurmanın çaba gerektirip gerektirmediği konusunda veri yönetimiyle ilgili sorunlar hakkında bir yardım masasının kurulmasının ne kadar çaba gerektirdiği ile ilgili çok çaba gerektirmediği yönünde cevap verenlerden geri bildirim almak istiyor. Evet, mikrofonu uzatabilirseniz lütfen.
Hello, I'm a reference librarian at Koç University. So we have already a reference desk. So that's why I thought, we need lower effort because we can answer this kind of questions from this desk also. That's why my answer was that.
And why do you think that's high impact?
If we can answer this kind of questions, it could be quite high impacts. It's a respectful something, about librarians. If we can answer these questions, so that's why.
So cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's interesting answers. And perhaps another one. So impact versus effort of creating a dedicated data management website. Just for data management.
Tamamen bu işe adanmış. Sadece veri yönetimi sorunlarının çözümü için adanmış bir web sitesi kurmanın etkisi ve bunun için ne kadar çaba harcanması gerektiği ile ilgili soru. Yani böyle bir web sitesi yaratmak veri yönetimi sorunları için ne kadar çaba gerektiriyor? Bunun etkisi ne kadar yüksek ya da düşük?
Okay, we can see some responses. They all seem to be clustering in one area. Okay, so it seems like people think that's a lot of impact of creating a website. Would somebody like to comment on that? Why creating a website is impactful?
İsteyen varsa niçin etki yarattığı konusunda?
Yeah, there are some hands there.
I chose both of them, very high impact and effort. I gave 10. Why? Because creating a dedicated data management websites, it could be hard, but also its impact could be hard. Why? Because you can create a website, but if you anybody don't know about that website, it's nothing. So it's related to advertisement. If international scholarly can use your websites, it's impactful. So I said 10 and 10. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will just mark it here and we can ask ourselves the final question. I think it's around there, number 4, the website. And let's just choose a final question. There are some more, so I can send you them afterwards. Okay, so that's a tricky one. So impact versus effort of creating a data champions program. So these are the people who are volunteering themselves within the research community to act as local advocates of good data management practices. What do people think about that?
Evet, bu seferki soru veri ile ilgili sorunları çözmek, buna aracılık etmek için bu işlerden anlayan ve veri şampiyonu, yani bu tür sorunları olanlara yardımcı olacak bir program yaratılması konusundaki düşüncelerini soruluyor. Hatırlarsanız sunuşunda da 8 görevlisi olduğu vardı Delft Teknik Üniversitesi'nde. Gene sadece bu iş için adanmış bir veri şampiyonları programı kurmanın etkisi nedir? Ne kadar çaba gerektirir? Soru bu. She's telling that the question they have before is different from what I am reading from here.
So this is not what you see?
Bir sıkıntı yok gibi gözüküyor ama okay, no problem. So I think the slide should be advanced. Okay, all right. But
okay. So people think it's a lot of work and a lot of impact potentially. Who thought, perhaps if we have somebody who thought like in this square, there are very few people, but maybe somebody brave who thinks it's a little effort and little impact. Anybody would like to comment on that? Maybe one of the panels, do you think you might know why people would have voted that it's a little impact and little effort to create data champions community? Does anybody agree with that? Or could comment on why do people have thought like that?
I can't quite say why, but I think it might have to do something with what actually a data champion does. You know, I tried to explain it a little bit to intermediate to help solve the data management, data stewardship problems or issues. But as a term, data champion is probably not very familiar to us. Okay.
I understand. Okay, thank you very much for your votes. And there were some, yes?
This is a really important point of open science, also research data management, data champions. For example, in my institution, we started to establish our institutional repository. That time we think that we can find the stars to put their article as a pioneer. One of them is our vice rector. We put his article in the system. Also, dean of the engineering faculty. We put his article on the system. They worked as a data champions. It's also same for this research data issues. Yani söylemek istediğim şuydu arkadaşlar. Biz kurumsal arşiv oluştururken de kendi okulumuzda bazı araştırmacılarımızı, bazı hocalarımızı önceden konuşup onları ben onlara bizim yıldızlarımız dedim ki Ahmet hocam da onlardan bir tanedir mesela. İlk önce onların yayınlarını kurumsal arşivimize koymaya ikna ettik ve onlarla konuştuk. Onların yayınlarını koyduktan sonra yine bizim mühendislik fakültemizin dekanı da mesela onlardan biriydi. Tüm yayınlarını ilk önce bu seçtiğimiz 3-4 kişinin yayınlarını kurumsal arşivimize koyduk ve ondan sonra konuştuğumuz insanlarla da bak işte o koydu, bak var şeklinde hep gittik. Yani o dönemde sağ olsun rektörümüz de destek verdi. Şu anda mesela bizim kurumsal arşivimizde hem rektörümüzün hem de Ahmet hocamızın hem de dekanlarımızın tüm yayınları eksiksizdir. Asistanlıklarından bugüne kadar olan bütün yayınlarını bizim kurumsal arşivimizde bulmak mümkün. Aynı şey burada da geçerli. Yani biz verilerini koymak için bir takım önceden verilerini bulmamız lazım ki onlardan başlamalı yani bu iş. Daha da yaygınlaştırabilmek için.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Just to summarize the exercise we did today, that's of course we only ask a couple of questions. You can ask multiple others and you can have some examples of other questions that you might have want to consider and have a similar kind of vote or discussion within your institution. What is usually nice to do afterwards, in which case maybe that won't be so representative because you thought that all of these initiatives are very impactful, but if you draw a diagonal there, oops, sorry, like that, then you can usually filter out which activities you should focus on in the first instance. But in our case, that's all of them are very impactful. And of course, quite a lot of effort, but because the impact is high, these are usually the one which is worth focusing on. So I guess for you, from today's exercise, it's worth focusing on number 3, which was setting up a help desk for all data management questions. Quite little effort, but quite a lot of impact. And number 2, which again, little effort, but quite a lot of impact, which was creating a list of recommended data repositories. So this was just the beginning, but I'm happy to share with you the questions or like give you some advice on how to have these discussions within your universities. From my experience, that really helps when you have various stakeholders around you to reach a conclusion what should be our priorities in terms of working together and providing some support for researchers in data management. So with that, hopefully you can go back to your institutions and have some inspirations how to have these discussions, or at least what are the low-hanging fruit, that we can do very easily within a couple of weeks and really help researchers and help to make a difference. And meantime, just to say, if you have any questions or if you would like to get some advice or come to Delft to see what we are doing, you are very cordially invited. Here are my contact details. And the presentation is shared. So if you would like to see some of the slides or some of the resources, that's all available in the notes. So you are welcome to use that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marta, both for the talk and the experiment. We run out of time beyond some 10 minutes out of our allotted time, but nevertheless, I'd like to briefly summarize the overall session. But before that, if you are burning to ask a question to Marta, please do so. If you have any question, I think she can answer 1 or 2 short questions. Zeki Bey.
What is your requirements for job for data stewardships? And if I accept it, how do I earn euro?
Sorry, did I understand correctly? You were asking about the job description and what's the salary?
Yes.
Yes, so that's a very good question. In terms of job description, we really look first of all for researchers, for people who have research background or understanding of research practices within particular disciplines. So for example, somebody who has been working as, I don't know, data manager already within the faculty or a policy person, but really knowing research very well for a couple of years, that would be fine as well, but they really have to understand research practices. So that's the first requirement, ideally a PhD degree in a related area. And secondly, really, of course, we have lots of other description, like ideally understanding the needs for code management and so on. But really what we are looking for is good communicators. So people who not only, the technical specialists, the researchers with, of course, understanding the research practices, but people who can engage with their communities, who can understand the people and who are good politicians. Because, sometimes you really have to be very diplomatic when you talk with senior people, when you talk with researchers, with young PhD students, So this is not easy people to hire, because people who at the same time are researchers really understand the deep focus of researchers, and at the same time are good communicators and politicians are quite difficult to find. So hiring is not the easiest. In terms of salaries, we are paying them postdoc salary in the middle scale. So let's say what you would get after 3-4 years of being a postdoc. So we try to make it attractive and present it as an alternative choice of pursuing career in academia. There are 2 positions advertised at the moment, so if anybody is interested.
Okay, thank you. One more last question, if there is any. Didar Hanım.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I really wonder what was the reaction of your faculty member towards this stewardship project?
Of a member of?
Faculty members.
Faculty members.
Or faculty.
Yeah. That's a very good question. So 3 out of the 8 faculties were very positive about that idea. And I have to say, probably in the Netherlands, we were lucky and unlucky. As I mentioned, we had some issues. There was this fraudulent case, which I think everybody realized, we have to do something. We just can't leave researchers not supported. We have to support them better. So there were 3 faculties which were front runners in adoption of data stewardship. So as soon as we got some money to support these positions, they were quite keen to be the front runners, to be the first one to pilot that program. 5 others were at the beginning a bit skeptical. Oh, do we need these extra people? So actually what really helped is to start having discussions with their researchers. So I was one of the people who would be going and interviewing their researchers and asking them questions. For example, what would happen if the best postdoc in your lab would leave the group tomorrow? Would you be able to find the data? And actually, I would have some problems. Or, what happened with your last paper? Did you try to share the data? Did somebody ask you for the research data supporting your paper? And actually, these kind of questions made them realize quite important that is, because usually the first response is, oh yeah, it was very difficult to find the data. Indeed, there was a request, and in the end, I think I haven't shared because I couldn't find all the information. And then asking them the question, what if you would have shared immediately at the time of publication? Would it have been easier? And they said, oh, actually, yes, but nobody helped me with that. So in a way, because researchers really had a lot of demand, then coming back to those 5 hesitant faculties really made the difference. And now I think we have all of them aboard, and they are all quite interested in those positions.
Okay, thank you, Marta, for this talk. As you probably know, we don't have that many data management projects running in Turkey yet, so you might have found the survey results a bit different from what you get from other colleagues in other countries. But nevertheless, I think it's an important data to collect from the sort of beginners of data managers around the world. So thank you for this presentation. I know I am trying your patience perhaps, but I would like to briefly summarize the overall session, and if you don't mind, I'm going to do that in Turkish, so sorry about that. Bu sunumla birlikte bu oturum sona erdi. Biliyorum sabrınızı zorluyorum ama kısaca oturumla ilgili bir toparlama yapmak gerekirse biz Ahmet Hoca'nın Açık Bilimin Kimyası konuşmasıyla buna başladık ve kurulmuş olan bir denge olduğunu ama açık bilim söz konusu olduğunda paydaşların, oyuncuların davranışıyla bu dengenin nasıl istediğimiz yönde ya da istemediğimiz yönde reaksiyona girişebileceğini öğrendik. Daha genel bir yaklaşımla aslına bakılırsa hocamız topun bizde olduğunu sanıyorum ki vurguladı. Daha sonra Tim Smith bize belki de dünyada şu anda en fazla veri üretilen Avrupa Parçacık Fiziği Laboratuvarı'ndaki verilerin yakalanmasından, bunların düzenlenmesine ve hizmete sunulmasına kadar yapılan son derece karmaşık veri yönetimi, veri hizmetçiliği işlerinden söz etti. bunun aynı zamanda ne kadar hem teknik anlamda altyapı ama aynı zamanda da beceriler açısından altyapı gerektirdiğini vurguladı. Kendisine çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Son olarak da daha belki uniform değil, daha tek biçim değil. Aslında CERN'in de tek biçim olduğunu söylemek mümkün değil. Çünkü orada toplanan veri çeşitleri de son derece farklı birbirinden. Ama bizim belki daha aşina olduğumuz bir üniversite ortamında yürütülen araştırmalarla ilgili toplanan veri, yani CERN'deki gibi büyük veri değil belki ama mutlaka büyük veri uygulamaları da vardır Delft Teknik Üniversitesi'nde. En azından daha çeşitli. Gerçi hepsi teknik bilimlerle ilgili, dünkü konuşmasında da söylediği gibi, ama teknolojiyle ilgili bile olsa işin sosyal bilimleri de bu üniversitede çalışılıyor. Dolayısıyla teknoloji kullanımı ile ilgili sosyal bilim verileri de elbette toplanıyor. Bunlarla ilgili yapılan uygulamalar, ki çok eski bir uygulama değil sanıyorum ve Marta'da spesifik olarak bu veri yönetim hizmetlerini koordine etmek üzere göreve başlamış 2017 yılında burada. İlginç geri bildirimler almış. Bir de çok ilginç bir uygulama yaptı burada. Bizim böyle bir hani veri yönetim hizmet noktası kurmak için gereken çaba nedir? Bunun etkisi ne kadar olacaktır? Ya da işte bu konuyla ilgili veri arşivlerinin listesini tutan bir web sitesi kurmak ve yaşatmak ne kadar önemli? Bunun için ne kadar çaba gerekir? Ya da bu iş için spesifik bir veri yönetimi web sitesi kurmak ne kadar önemli? Bunun için ne kadar çaba gerekir? Şeklinde bazı sorulara bizden katkı bekledi. Gelen cevaplar tabii ki daha çok evet bunun için çabaya gerek var ama aynı zamanda etkisi de oluyor biçiminde çıktı. Ama bunun yanı sıra hiç etkisi olma ya da hiç değilse bile az etkisi olur. Az da çaba gerektirir yönünde de şeyler vardı. Bilemiyorum kendisinin daha önceki anket sonuçlarıyla bunlar ne kadar uyuşuyor ya da uyuşmuyor ama bizim ülkemizde en azından bir CERN'deki kadar veri yönetimi, veri hizmetleri ile ilgili bir birikim olmadığını da düşünerek belki bu cevapların değerlendirilmesine yarar var sanırım. Bu kısa toparlama ile birlikte ben tekrar sabrınız için çok teşekkür ediyorum. 23 dakika geç başlamıştık, 19 dakika bunun üzerine ekleyerek bitiriyoruz. Gerçekten üzgünüm bu açıdan ama Gültekin Bey ne diyecek onu merak ediyorum. Çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Bu gecikmeyi biraz düşündük çünkü bir sonraki oturumdaki konuşmacılarımızdan birinin annesinin acil rahatsızlığı nedeniyle o yok. O yüzden bir sonraki oturum 2 konuşmacımız olduğu için bir şekilde dengelemiş oluyoruz bu farkı. Ya özellikle Marta'nın konuşmasındaki birkaç bölüm çok önemliydi. Ben de altını çizmek istiyorum. Özellikle ki davet etmemdeki esas nedenlerden biri de Delft Üniversitesi'ndeki bu Data Steward veya veri yöneticiliği pozisyonuyla ilgiliydi. Bu sunuma benzer bir sunumu Kuar toplantısında Hamburg'da ben izlemiştim Marta'nın sunumunda. Ve orada çok enteresan, üniversite böyle programa karar veriyor ve 9 tane doktora düzeyindeki kişiyi bundan ilgili işe alıyor. Ve bunların hepsi ayrı birer fakülteden sorumlu. Veri yöneticiliğiyle ilgili, veri yönetimiyle ilgili o fakültedeki insanlara destek oluyorlar. Önce onlar eğitiliyor, daha sonra da o fakültedeki insanlara veri yönetimiyle ilgili destek veriyorlar. Yani Delft Teknik Üniversitesi çok iyi bir üniversite, çok iyi bir teknik üniversite ama işte öyle durduğu yerde de çok iyi bir üniversite olmuyor. Marta'nın da zaten yüksek lisansı Cambridge'de veri yöneticiliğiyle ilgili. Her şey bir zincir.